Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about an old song called Make Me a Pallet on Your Floor, and I'm kind of working off the Gillian Welch live version for this. And we're going to move it for key up to Capo third, but we're going to walk through all the chords kind of in root position. And we're going to start off at a C major chord, and the way you play C major, first finger is going to go to the B string on the first fret, second finger is going to go to the D string on the second fret, and third finger is going to go to the A string on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that makes a C major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And on our intro, actually, we're going to do two of the C major chords. And a lot of times with a song like this, and we'll talk about a lot of ways to kind of play this, but one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, up, down, up. So we just took the C and just tried that a lot. We'd have C with down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, up, C, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. So we're going to try and do that a lot to get your right hand used to it. And then when we go into our verse, actually we're going to an F major chord. And we'll talk about a really easy way to play this, but if you know the bar F major, you do your first finger across the entire first fret, second finger is going to go to the G string on the second fret, third finger on the A string on the third fret, and the pinky on the D string on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds like F major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. But a lot of times if you're just starting out or you just want to avoid the bar F, you can substitute in something called F major 7 for that. And the way you play F major 7, first finger is going to go to the B string on the first fret, second finger on the G string on the second fret, and third finger on the D string on the third fret. And if you strum just the D, G, B, and E, kind of the skinny 4 strings, that sounds F major 7. It sounds really happy. And then from the F, we're going to be going back to the C major chord. And then from the C major, we're going to be going back to the F major, another F major. But then we're going to be going to a G major chord. And when we play G major, first finger is going to go to the A string on the second fret, second finger is going to go to the low E on the third fret, and third finger is going to go to the high E string on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And even though that's kind of like our verse chorus, they're kind of like all together actually, or kind of the first part of that, I'm kind of thinking about that as a verse, just for simplicity of titles later. So if we tried that with our strum pattern, we'd have F with down, down, up, down, up, F, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, up, F, down, down, up, down, up, F, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, up. And then we kind of be into what I'm calling our chorus, where we just go back to the C major, and then we're going to go to an E major chord. And the way you play E major, first finger is going to go to the G string on the first fret, second finger on the A string on the second fret, and third finger on the D string on the second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E major chord. It sounds very, very happy. And then from the E major, we're going to be going to an A minor chord. And when you play A minor, first finger is going to go to the B string on the first fret, second finger is going to go to the D string on the second fret, and third finger is going to go to the G string on the second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds like A minor chord. It sounds really, really sad. And then from the A minor, we're going to go back to C major, and then we're going to do a G major, and then we're going to go back to the C major, and then kind of end it with another C major. So we try our chorus with our strum pattern, and we got C, down, up, down, B, down, down, up, down, A minor, down, down, up, down, A minor, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, up. And then we're basically going to be repeating our verse and our chorus actually through the rest of the song. Now, one other weird thing though is to play along with the Gillian Welch version, like I mentioned earlier, instead of starting on a C major chord, she's actually starting on an E flat major chord. So to play along with the recording, what you want to do is take a capo, and if you put the capo on third fret, then now your C major is really an E flat major, and your F major is really an A flat major, and your G major is really a B flat major, and then the A major is actually a G major, and then your A minor is really a C minor chord. Just to take that from the very beginning, just to kind of work through that form with that strum pattern, we'd have our intro where we kind of start on the C with the down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, up, to kind of kick off the tune. And then we'd be going into our verse part. So we have F, down, up, down, up, F, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, up, F, down, down, up, down, up, F, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, up. And we'd be on our chorus part, so we could try that with the C, down, up, down, E major, down, down, up, Now something else that I would think about adding to the strum pattern though is basses. And on that first down of the down, down, up, down, you'd actually add a bass note for the chord. So on the C, you could kind of play the A string for your bass and then do your down, up, down. So C with an A bass, down, up, down. C with an A bass, down, down. C with an A bass, down, down. But if you're doing your bar F, you'd have your bass for your low E string for the F chord. So F with low E bass, down, down. F with low E bass, down, down. But on your F major 7, we'd be playing the D string for your bass. Actually, what we're playing is kind of the note that is the name of the chord. So on the F, we're playing an F note. On the C, we're playing a C note. On the G, we're playing a G note. Or what would have been that if we hadn't Capo. But then when we get to the G, you'd have the low E string for your bass. G with low E bass, down, down. G with low E bass, down, down. And on the E major, you'd have the low E string for your bass. Low E bass, down, down. B with low E bass, down, down. But then on the A minor, you'd have the A string for your bass. Down, up, down, up, A bass, down, up, down, up. So we tried that through our verse. We'd have F with the bass, down, up, down, up, F bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, F with the bass, down, down, F with the bass, down, down, G with low E bass, down, down, G with low E bass, down, down, and then if we tried that through our chorus part, we have C with an A bass, down, down, E with low E bass, down, down, A minor with an A bass, down, down, A minor with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, G with low E bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down. Now something else I would think about kind of adding to the tune is kind of a country feel strum pattern to kind of simulate like a country bass player playing behind you. And a lot of times what a country bass player will do is play what's called the root of the chord and then the fifth of the chord. So on a C chord, for instance, you'd be playing a C for number 1 as your root note, and then C, D, E, F, G for kind of your second bass note. And a cool country pattern is kind of going root and then down up on the chord and then fifth and then down up on the chord. So on the C chord, if you kind of do the A string for your bass, that's your root note for the chord. And then if you take your third finger and kind of move him to the low E string on the 3rd fret, that's where a G note would have been in the C chord. So we can kind of alternate between the A string on the 3rd fret and the E string on the 3rd fret for your C chord to kind of get a good country feel. So you got C with the root, down, up, 5th, down, up, root, down, up, 5th, down, up, root, down, up, 5th, down, up, A string 3rd fret, low E string 3rd fret. And then when you get to your F major bar, you can do low E string for your root and then the A string for your 5th, low E root, A string for the 5th, down, up, low E root, A string for the 5th, down, up, low E root, 5th on the A string. Or if you're doing the F major 7, you can do the D string for your root and then move your 3rd finger like we did with the C chord between the D string 3rd and the A string 3rd to kind of get the root, down, up, 5th, down, up, D bass, A bass, 3rd finger on the D string, 3rd finger on the A string, kind of move them. And then on the G chord, you'd have the low E string for your root and the D string is your 5th, low E root, D string's the 5th, low E root, D string 5th, low E root, D string 5th, and then when we get to the E major, you'd have low E for the root, and then the A string's your 5th, low E root, A string for the 5th, low E root, A string for the 5th, low E root, A string for the 5th, and on your A minor, you'd have the A string to the low E string for your root, down, up, 5th, down, up, root, down, up, 5th, down, up. So we took that and kind of took that through our verse form. We'd have F with low E, or root 5th, F root 5th, C with an A bass, low E root, C with an A bass, F with a bass, down, up, 5th, down, up, root, down, up, 5th, down, G with low E root, 5th, G with the low E root, 5th. And then if we tried that through our chorus form, we'd have the C with an A bass, down, up, 5th, down, up, E with low E root, down, up, A string 5th, A minor with an A root, low E 5th, A minor with an A root, low E 5th, C with an A root, 5th, G with low E root, and then D string for the 5th, C with an A bass, and then low E bass, C with an A bass, and then low E bass. So that might be something else you want to kind of try. And I know for myself, actually, I really like the arpeggios and the fingerstyle, actually, that Gillian Welch is doing. And you can kind of simulate that with a really, really easy arpeggio for the right hand. So if you're interested in fingerstyle, you kind of lose the pick for a second. What you could do is use your thumb for your bass player, and then your index finger's job is to kind of play the G string, middle finger's job is to play the B string, and the ring finger's job is to kind of play the high E string. And on the C chord, for instance, you could start out with kind of a thumb, and then middle, and then index, and then ring idea. So I'm going A string, B string, G string, high E string, and then come back with kind of a middle, and then index, and then middle. So you got thumb, middle, ring, ring, or sorry, thumb, middle, index, ring, middle, index, middle, thumb, middle, index, ring, middle, index, middle, which can be a really cool thing to try for your C chord. And if we tried that on your F chord, actually, if you're doing the F major 7, you do the D for your bass. So D bass, F major 7 with a D bass, F major 7 with a D bass. Or if you did it with the F major bar, you'd have the low E string for your bass. So kind of taking those chords and kind of working them, but now we're using a fingerstyle idea instead of a pick idea. And then on your G major, you'd have the low E string for your root. So thumb could kind of just do the thumb for your root, or low E root. And then when we get to the C chord, you got the A string bass. On the E string, you got low E string for your bass. So you can kind of take that arpeggio with the E. And then on the A minor, you got an A string for your bass. So your thumb is the only one that's really moving. Everybody else is kind of staying in that A, B, index, ring, middle, index, middle. So whatever it is, it's kind of bass, B, G, E, B, G, B. That's kind of what I'm doing with the strings. So we tried that through our verse. We'd have F, F, C, C, F, F, G, G. And then if we took that idea and kind of tried it through our chorus part, we'd have the C, E major, A minor with an A bass, A minor with an A bass, C with an A bass, G with low E bass, C with an A bass, F, F, C, F, F, G, C, E major, A minor, C, G, C, C. So that might be another thing to kind of play around with. And if you want to, you could even take that first part of that thumb, middle, index, ring, and almost kind of do the country feel, but with that for your bass line. So if you wanted to, now my thumb's doing thumb, middle, index, ring, and then doing another thumb, middle, index, ring with the fifth of the chord. So I'm kind of going root, fifth, kind of for the C chord, but now with the thumb instead of kind of working it with the pick. And you can really work that through the whole pattern too, and working the same root fifth idea as kind of the country feel. So we tried it that way. You have the verse with the F, F, C, C, F, F, G, G, C. Oh, and then if we tried it through our chorus, we'd have C, E major, A minor, A minor, C, G, C. But that's the basics of how you could kind of strum through or fingerstyle through Make Me a Pallet on Your Floor by Gillian Welch. So good luck!